Okay, so yeah, I think we can start now. Okay, hello everyone. Okay, so before we start, let's talk about this a little bit about the rules, the session guidelines. So always remember to put your microphone on mute if you're not presenting anything, if you're not asking or discussing anything. Try to put your webcam on if possible. We would love to see your faces during our session, and make sure that you have the private space. You don't have too much noise around you. And yes, if you have any question or if you want to discuss anything, please feel free to use the chat box anytime you want. Okay, and firstly, let's introduce ourselves. So my name is Dat. I'm from Vietnam and I'm part of TCB. TCB stands for Tasty Culture Bites. And what we do in TCB is we empower people like everybody here in English communication skills and global citizenship. We hope everybody can develop with us through our journey in TCB. And we are from here. We're from Sydney. We originated from Sydney, but we have friends from all over the world working on TCB. For example, I'm in Japan right now, but I'm still working for TCB. And about me, my name is Thành Dat. I'm from Vietnam, and I'm currently studying marketing in APU in Japan. And yeah, and about our community, we not only have people from Australia and Japan, we also have people from China, we have people from Japan and different countries as well. And today we have our guest speaker. So Nadia, would you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, everyone. Before I begin, I would like to say a couple of things. I would like to thank Gary from TCB Sydney for the collaboration today, and the wonderful Dad who would be presenting and moderating today. And I'd also like to welcome some of my friends who just recently joined. Hello, Nuge. Hello, Nisa. Hello, Audrey. And thank you to everyone for joining us today, this Sunday afternoon. I'd like to introduce myself. So my name is Nadya Victoryka, and I am currently an architect in PSUD as an urban designer, and I had the opportunity to join as an Indonesian delegation of the UNFCCC COP16 in Mexico when I was 22. And I recently graduated from master's degree 2 years ago in ITB, and joined and also received a scholarship to undergo my undergraduate studies. So my graduate studies and undergraduate studies was funded by the Indonesian government. And I'm currently a mother of a 5-year-old boy, and I really enjoy much of collecting and nurturing exotic plants. Like you can see from my background, I have several plants, and currently I'm practicing as a professional urban designer in the Center of Urban Design Studies, involved in several national strategic development projects in Indonesia.
Thank you, Nadia. Yeah, we are very happy to have Nadia here today. She is very experienced. Although she looked very young, but she is a mother right now, and she has a lot of experiences that would help us with our future journey. Okay, so today we are talking about global soft skills, a very general terms that we can see everywhere. You see it on a scholarship application, you see it on other websites, on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Everybody is talking about global soft skills. And today we'll break it down and see what is global soft skill and how can we utilize them for our best. Okay, so before we begin, let's have a small question to everybody. I'll need you to answer this question in the chat, or you can raise your hand if you want to speak it up. So the question is, what do you think is the most important soft skill ever? You can write in the chat right now. What is the most important soft skill? The communication from Nuge. Communicate, teamwork, listening, communication. Okay, people keep going. You can choose more than one as well if you want to. Problem solving, that's a nice answer. conflict resolution. Yes, we definitely need that. Interpersonal skills, okay. Okay, I've seen many answers on communication and team working skills. And all these skills, we can see they have all one thing in common, is that they connect people to people. It's not just about working by yourself, but these skills all connect people. Also, the presentation skill that was answered by Anissa as well is a thing that we use to connect from people to people. So today, we're not talking about all of the skills that we can think of in the world. There might be a few hundreds soft skills in the world, but we cannot just learn them all in just one hour with Nadia. So we'll break it down into 5 smaller skills that we can talk about today. And the first one of the soft skill is this one, education. So Nadia, can you help us answer this very vital question? What is education? Why do we need it?
Okay, Dot. First of all, I really love the responses from the participants. I think some of the soft skills mentioned by the participants here relates closely with what we will present, or I will tell a little about forward in this session. So as you can see that the participants here, there's already an awareness of how important soft skills is to each personal and individual. And we can see there's communication, interpersonal skill, management skills, and problem solving. And all these soft skills actually are very important and an essential point to a person's career and also life journey. And I think in this session, there will be 5 points that we will present. I think we will have a very interactive discussion with that also, and about how to pursue these soft skills and to attain these soft skills so that we can develop ourselves in the future or in the time being as a professional and as an individual. So the first question from Dot would be, what is education? For me, education is not just about hard skills, as we know that hard skills we obtain from what we go to in college, in high schools, and formal education. But there are also education that are obtained during informal sessions, such as when we go outside and talk to people, when we learn about people's values, and what we learn about when we are experiencing certain conditions. So that is what I call soft skills. And soft skills are also a part of the education that we obtain, but not in an informal situation. Yeah.
Thank you, Nadia, for your answer. Okay, so everyone, please feel free to drop any question on the chat box if you want to ask anything or you want to discuss anything regarding education. Okay, so when we talk about education, we talk about open-mindedness. We talk about how we develop ourselves. We broaden our minds and we'll see more than we can. So, do you have any question on this, anybody? Please feel free to ask because Nadia is here to answer your question on this. Okay, Nadia, can you share any personal experience that made you understand the importance of education?
Okay, so education in relation to open-mindedness means that providing yourself the knowledge of any issues, also including global issues, that is an essential key of being open-minded. So when you are providing yourself education, not just the hard skills, like as recently you are, anywhere you are pursuing educations in, it opens yourselves into being more open-minded. And this step of open-mindedness leads for an understanding of other people and respecting other people, accepting people's differences. And when you're able to accept these differences by being open-minded, it means that you are a step forward in becoming a global citizen. So that's what I always believed in. And one of the experiences of this sort of issue is when studying abroad, we always have difficulties, and first is the language. Language is a very important aspect when you are stepping yourself into the global market or global situation. And when you're able to educate yourself on being able to use the language, or even to be aware of the issues surrounding you, you're a step forward in making yourself or positioning yourself to understand where you are, the context of where you are living or where you're currently pursuing studies. And that helps you a lot in positioning yourself in that condition and situation. And when you are able to position yourself, it creates some kind of a way for yourself to improve and also adapt.
Thank you, Nadia. Yes, I think we can all agree on this about the importance of education, but how we open our minds when we are educated about something. So one more thing about education is this key message from Nadia. So Nadia, can you elaborate on this key message that you wanted to deliver to our audiences?
Yep. So a couple of experiences when I studied abroad or having a situation of being amongst people from other parts of the world is that you are always challenged to think or being in a different perspective. And when you're able to position yourself, as what I said before, in educating yourself into that situation or being able to want to understand people's differences, you open a new perspective of thinking. Like, for instance, I have experience in the Netherlands. I usually students are asked to join a program which is having a host family, where you get to understand the local culture of where you are currently living in. And I was very much pleased to have 2 Dutch people accepting me as their some sort of like adopted children, so that they can also learn about my culture and also perspective. And in that situation, I learned a lot of different things. So Indonesia and the Netherlands are very tied to has very strong historical ties, as you probably here might know. And from those conversations, we figure out that we have different perspective towards history. For maybe participants here who might know that the Indonesian country was once occupied by the Dutch, the Netherlands. And I think we had a different perspective towards that, because the Dutch people, they didn't think that they were colonializing. In fact, they were practicing trade. And in that kind of position, we were able to exchange ideas on our perspective on how we felt about the history. And with the great communication towards one another, we're able to learn our different perspective towards that history. And I think that made us more aware of how other culture or other countries felt about the history. And I think they also managed to understand more about how we felt about what's happening to our history.
Thank you, Nadia. That was a very nice experience that you have had in the Netherlands. I believe if we all have this kind of experience, we can really change our perspective on the other countries. Maybe the country we love, maybe the country we hate, but whatever it is, if we get more education, we will change it, the way we look at things. So I have one other question, not just for Nadia, but for everybody in this room. So, okay, let's put everybody for a minute, and you can answer in the chat box for this question. And after that, Nadia will elaborate. We'll talk more about the question, okay? So the question is, what would happen if we lack of education? You can answer this question from your experiences or from your imagination. What would happen if we lack education? You can decide what type of education it is. It can be vital education like math and literature. It can be anything. Politics. Just choose and answer in the chat box.
think issues regarding education is also relates to what's happening currently in the US. So we recently have issues regarding racism and differences in seeing different cultures, discrimination. And I think most of the problem that occurred regarding those issues is because of the lack of understanding of other people's culture and history. And I think that's why it's very important for any one of us stepping into the global situation, or when we try to position ourselves in other different cultures, to be able to get ourselves more into knowing other people's culture and history. That's why we understand people more, and maybe not be ignorant about what other people are going through, because then again, every social aspect of life comes back to what other people feel or what other people think. And I think most of the approaches of social analysis or social aspect is the most important thing is to know what other people are feeling or what other people aspire. And that's when we are demanded to listen to other people's aspiration. And I think that's important when we are facing or when we try to position ourselves or to improve our social skills, because it's very closely related to people skills, understanding people.
Thank you, Nadia. So for that point, we can all see that education brings people together. When we have education, when we get educated, we are broadening our minds and we can see the ways that other people are thinking, and we can connect deeply through them through education, which brings us to the next point of empathy and respect. So Nadia, can you help us see the link between education and empathy and respect?
Yep, so empathy and respect is another way of us being able to build our soft skills. When you exercise on empathy and respect, you enable yourself to put yourself in other people's shoes, and therefore it helps you to understand people. And when you want to deliver ideas, you can make people understand those ideas from their perspective. And that's what I think empathy is. And empathy also helps you to understand people in order to teach your or you want to deliver your objectives. And this is only possible when you are educated enough, or you have the knowledge about other people's culture or other people's behavior or other people's attitude towards a certain belief or political interest or other types of education that they're going through. And I think this is very important in acquiring soft skills, because it's the first step of it's the first thing in your life that that sets a great stepping stone for yourself to flourish.
Thank you, Nadia. Okay, so let's ask our audiences this question. So why do you think that empathy and respect is important in the modern world, especially nowadays? Okay, anyone can raise your hand, or I will just call somebody. Any raising hands? Okay, let me ask Sully. What would be your thoughts on this?
So empathy, I think, speaking from my experience, when I came to Japan, and we have the same university, so where I study, there are people from pretty much all around the world. And when I came, I had a blank canvas. I didn't know what the culture of those countries were and all. But slowly, I'm in my second year right now. In those 2 years, I listened to other people's talk and their culture, about their culture, and then also I educated myself. And now I had some stereotypes before, like when I came, but now it's all different. And I think I empathize with people and what they say. And I don't think I create any stereotypes before knowing them personally, I guess. Yeah. And that way I can respect each and every person as an individual and also as a representative of their culture, I guess.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sully. Thank you for your story. That was very interesting. of how you erase your own stereotypes on certain things. Yeah, so Nadia, have you ever experienced this on empathy can cure stereotypes and discrimination? What would be your thoughts on this?
Yeah, well, as women, we often face stereotypes and discrimination. But I think then again, being able to have empathy and respect, I think this is also an important knowledge for us, as if we want to train ourselves to be leaders, we have to be empathetic and we have to respect people in order for us to be, be respected back from the people that work with us or even, work for us. And this is very important in companies, especially when you're a leader. The only thing that keeps people working for you or able to collaborate or work together with you is either to the empathy and respect that are given towards you, because by being respectful and by people being empathetic to you, it means that you are being treated as a human being where you can flourish and develop, and that leaves a room for yourself to be a part of that community, and or even to be a part of that system where you can put your ideas into, where you can take a big part, or take a part in being in that system. I think it's really important.
Thank you, Nadia. So we see that with empathy and respect, it means we treat people as who they are, not by the gender, not by the color, not by their originals. But we treat people as who they are, as human beings, not just a money maker, not just a leader or something, but as a human being, and we can understand. So I think we can see that this point is very important, especially in the world nowadays. And this brings us to the next key message of empathy and respect. So yeah, Nadia, what do you mean by this? By surround yourself with people who help you grow and be the person who help others grow.
Yep. So this is an experience actually during studies and also during professional career and professional situation. So there are two things that this empathy and respect is a very essential key to being a leader, a good leader, I think. I think this is what I learned from the people that I've worked with for years, and in every systems or situations. I think the most important thing to look at when you want to grow is when you find yourself people who respect you and empathize with your condition, and therefore this helps you to grow, to be a person, and you can also contribute to other people and build that system together, not just as an individual who is not recognized as a personal entity. And I think it's very important, especially when you want to pursue to be a leader, or you want to build yourself to have a good network or teamwork. I think this is very important.
Thank you, Nadia. Okay, so let's ask our audiences. I think maybe some of us have already tried to surround ourselves with people who share the same interests, who has empathy. Okay, so can anybody share? Have you ever tried to done that, and how do you feel when you have people like that around you? Anyone want to volunteer?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's the comment from Nuge in terms of career or work situation in a more, if you're in a more strategic level, it empathy and respect is very required. It's a very essential attitude to have, because then in the management level you are required to have very strong leadership that you can acquire, so that people can work with you effectively, efficiently, and and make the people who work with you be in their optimum state. And I think empathy and respect is an important key for other people also to be able to participate in that condition.
I see. Thank you, Nadia, and thank you, Nugi, as well, for your comments. We have another comment from Vanang. Yeah, she's actually a friend of mine. So, Vanang, can you help us elaborate on your thoughts, like directly, not just through the chat?
Hi.
Hi.
Hi, everyone. Hi. Well, I think, well, empathy for me is the ability to allow yourself to feel the love from your surrounding, to allow yourself to understand other people. And for me, it's important because, well, we all know the concept of loving ourselves, right? But I don't know how other people feel, but like loving yourself is hard when you cannot feel the love from other people, right? So you are a reflections of your surroundings. So if you allow yourself to feel the love from other people, so that is also a way for you to grow as a person, to feel the love within yourself as well. I don't know if that makes sense to you.
Yes, definitely. Thank you, Vanang. That was a very critical point. So, Nadia, how do you think?
Yeah, well, basically, as a human being, I think no one wants to be treated as not human, especially in every certain situations, even in work. I think that's the key point in when you run a business or when you are in a system of a company. Empathy helps you to strategize on how to manage people. Also, when you are empathizing people, you know their condition, and that's when you're able to see what kind of strategy you can put to people. I mean, you cannot force certain condition because sometimes people are not in what in the condition that you think you you know you might conceive, but you have to understand other people so that you can make an optimum strategy out of what you feel should be done, because that is a more effective way of managing people, is to know what other people are going through so that you can, you know, be more wise in making decisions.
Thank you, Nadia. Okay. So yeah, about this point of empathy and respect, we can agree that that is a very important point. If we get educated, we feel more empathy towards people, we learn about people, we learn about other ways of thinking. But how can we achieve this? How do we achieve education? How do we achieve respect and empathy? Well, let's bring it to the next point. And I have a question, a very simple question for everybody for this one. Curiosity. Okay, everybody, can I see your answers in the chat about when was the last time you was curious about something? When was the last time that you were curious about something? Right, yesterday, right now. Okay. Interesting answer. Nick.
I love the
Yesterday.
answer every day.
Wow, that's admirable. Yeah, we haven't seen much answers from Clara or Ivy, Brenda, Anissa, Wendy. Yeah, please comment as well. We'd love to hear your thoughts. What will I have for dinner today? Great question. I ask myself that every day, actually. Okay, so Nadia, you said that you were interested in the answer every day. So let's ask Barato to explain why did you write this What did you write every day? Can you have your answer, Barato?
Yes, so my answer is every day, because I think every day is a never-ending experience for everyone, and it's a never-ending lessons that you can gain from anything that you hear or what you see. It's a never-ending opportunity to learn every day.
Okay, thank you. So there's an opportunity to learn every day. That's I think that actually covers one of our points today, right, Nadia? Okay,
Yeah.
Nadia, so what are your thoughts on this?
One of the key points also in obtaining soft skills is curiosity. So curiosity helps you to obtain knowledge that you are unfamiliar with, as what have said in the comments. And I think being curious helps you to have the motivation to want to know more about things that you are not familiar with. And I think this point of curiosity is one of the key that helps me to, you know, achieve several situations and moments in life that is very useful that until today. So like, for instance, like when you're curious, usually you ask, and when you ask someone or want to know about a certain issue, then you find out about that. And when you find out about that, you can, you know, find out about that during when you communicate with people or ask other people, or even, you know, research something in the internet, and it helps you to understand more about that issue. And when you have that curiosity and understanding, it helps you to think beyond what you don't know, and that again helps you to be more educated. And it also helps you to build your thoughts on things, not just like limit yourself in certain knowledge. Like, for instance, currently, if you're having studies in certain hard skills experiences, like for instance engineering, I think it's also important for us to know things beyond engineering, like for instance social issues or language or other things such as that, so that when you are facing a professional situation, you have other knowledge that you can put into, and that creates a more valuable self presentation to other people, because you have more knowledge than what you are what other people think. And I think that's also important for us when we want to obtain soft skills, or even want to train about soft skills.
Wow, great answer, Nadia. So do you have any concrete examples when you actually felt curious about something beyond what you knew?
Yeah, so I am I'm very interested in regards to women's rights, and also what's happening to women in especially in Asia, and what's happening in women in my field, in architecture engineering. And I think some of the things that happens to women in architecture engineering is the lack of equality that we are facing, because it's a male dominated industry, and therefore it urges me to understand more about what women should have as rights, or what is just for women to have, so that they can obtain the opportunity or to survive in the industry. And one of the things I learned is about women's right, and therefore I educate myself regarding women's right on what we should have as women to flourish, also compared to other genders in the industry, so that we can strengthen ourselves as a person, and also motivate other people, or even younger people in the industry, because we need more women in our industry to work as an architect, so that they can produce, or they can help to create more friendly places for women and also children. And therefore we need that curiosity to develop ourselves in that certain knowledge. And I think that is the most interesting thing for me. So for me to learn about, because when you're in the engineering field, you're not able to obtain those kind of information in the formal situations or in the formal education. And I think nowadays it's very important because it is very closely related to the products that we also produce. And I think that it will also be important for other people when they step into their professional career to understand about other issues other than what they know in their professional field, so that they can understand the market. I think that's what I have in my mind.
Thank you, Nadia. So yeah, she just brought us a very important point. We can easily learn about things that we're interested in. We can easily curious about our major, about professionals. But what about the things that we haven't known yet? So this quote from Nadia actually answers that question. We have to be curious, we have to be learning, because learning is a never-ending process. And I can see some of the opinions from our audiences in the chat box. Curiosity could also mean as critical thinking. Important, very nice point.
Yes.
Some people also talk about they were curious when they were babies. Okay, let's ask our audiences about this. Okay, Yuka, are you there?
Yep.
Yeah, so can you explain your answers in the chat box?
Well, this was my response to earlier question where, when I felt curious.
Okay.
And I was like, I saw my baby, my friend's baby today, and I was very curious about what he was curious about. And then Matthew and Gary from TCB responded saying, yeah, babies find everything fascinating. But I was thinking, it's really sad that we don't remember much from our baby days. Because if I knew what I was curious about back then, I feel like the world would be more like vibrant. So
yeah.
So that was what I was thinking.
Wow, thank you, Yuka. Okay, this brings me to another question that I just popped up in my head, and this is for Nadia and for everybody as well, if you want to answer in the chat box. So what would happen if we right now, are as curious as a baby about the world?
Yeah, so when we got older, we know more about things, and that's where we kind of stop to be curious sometimes. But I always remember a proverb from Umar bin Khattab. He was the friend of the Prophet, our Prophet Muhammad, and in his quote, it said that the more you know, the more you actually will know nothing, because it's just like a part of when we are studying in our finding final year's project. We tend to look at a certain topic, and when we dig into the topic, it seems that we might not know much about it. When we read more, we will think that we don't know about it at all, and you read more about it to understand. And I think that as a baby, not knowing anything, just introducing yourself to the world, I think we need to get ourselves back to that motivation, so that we continuously learn about things beyond what we know today, so that we can improve. And I think it's important to have this never-ending process, because the world is always changing, the world is always developing. And one of the findings that I find interesting is also the fact is that when a human resource department will always think of people who actually are capable, or who tend to have these qualities to be a part of their maybe the industry or business, is the people who are always curious and always willing to adapt. When you're curious, you have the capacity to find yourself new information so that you can adapt. I think this is a very crucial part of steps in your career, or even when you are an entrepreneur, is always being curious about yourself. And we can learn from babies that babies have the tendency to always want to know about new things, because they basically don't know about much things. So I think we can learn much about that situation as we grow. And even if we are in, having a lot of experiences, I think it's always important for us to remember that we are open to a lot of information that we can access through the internet. Again, I think technology should be made very useful to us so that we can always develop ourselves into facing different conditions and situations. And I think in this pandemic, we learned a lot of things about curiosity. We think about things that are beyond of our knowledge, and I think that helps us to adapt and adjust to the condition.
Thank you, Nadia. Yes, this is really amazing how just suddenly in the pandemic, everybody becomes master chefs, everybody become painters, everybody becomes something new. Yeah, so let's try to be curious, not just about the world, and also about ourselves as well. Please not forget that. And I want to say thank you to everybody in this room today because for being curious about this topic, about global soft skills, about TCB, about Nadia, about what we have to offer you today. Really thank you for joining today, for being curious. Okay, and let's go to our next point. Just a moment. Okay, so our next point is bravery. So I think this bravery is really connected to the curiosity that we have just discussed. Because when we have curiosity, we will ask. But I believe everybody in this room have experienced that when you want to ask somebody about something, you felt nervous. You felt a bit scared. You don't want to be a nuisance for them. You don't want to bother them. So what takes us to be curious? I believe that is bravery. And Nadia, what would be your thoughts on bravery? Why do we need this?
Being brave is having the audacity to conquer hesitation and fear. I think we always have hesitation and fear towards things, like new things that we are, want to explore on. So it's like every time we face certain condition that we want to know about more, sometimes we hesitate to find out from certain people or any situation like that. So I think it's a very important thing to be brave in order for us to open up ourselves to other people or to opportunities, which we will mention after this. So bravery is a process of getting yourself into a certain condition that you're not familiar with. I mean, I think it's what people essentially forget when entering a new condition or a certain situation. And I think we need to have the bravery for us to be able to adapt and also to develop in a certain way. So I think it's very important because it's a thing that people might not realize for having, but they don't practice it often because of that fear and hesitation. And I think we need to all start to have bravery so that we can open new opportunities for us.
Thank you, Nadia. Okay, let's have another question to our audience. So everyone, please answer in the chat box. So what was your bravest moment until now in life? What was your bravest moment ever? You can answer in the chat box. Okay, so while people are answering, Nadia, what do you want to share?
About bravery, there are, bravery is what makes you think you are capable of doing or not. So when you challenge yourself to be brave, it also allows yourself to measure the capabilities of your personal self. When you want to take certain actions, when you have the experience of certain things that you are experiencing, it means that you challenge your bravery. How far can you go when you face certain condition? And I think this is important to practice on certain skills in life, so that in the future, when you face a similar experience, you know where to position yourself. Like, for instance, I was once asked in my early years in my professional career in the company that I work for, I was challenged to fly to a place of a post-disaster place. Recently, last year, it happened an earthquake and liquefaction in Sulawesi, and we were asked to survey an area to help the Ministry of Public Work to build a master plan for the rehabilitation of settlements. And I think to be brave at that moment, to fly to that place, and I was challenged to pilot a drone, which I was not experienced with, and I had to learn for a day. And I think that was the kind of bravery you have to have when you enter any professional situation, so that that also helps other people to think about yourself as being professional, because sometimes you will be positioned you will be put in a position where you are challenged, and sometimes people don't take challenges because they're afraid and hesitate. And I think that's also important to the point that I want to deliver about failure. Failure is always the thing that people are thinking about when they want to start to be brave, because they don't want to fail. Whereas what I would think is that when you fail, it's actually a process of you to learn about things that you face, or to when you fail, so that in order to be more conscious about what you will do next, or how to strategize on the next step that you do. So I think it's always important to think failure as a process rather than the end of the product. So yeah, I think bravery is the most important thing for you to acquire these skills in order to also improve and gain new opportunities.
Thank you, Nadia. Okay, let's look at while Nadia was talking, some of our audiences were chatting actually in the chat box. So we were answering the question, what is your bravest moment in life? And many people said coming to a new country with a totally foreign language and overcoming the culture shock in a specific country where it was before. Okay, let's hear some answers from this. Okay, Newgate, are you there?
Yes.
Yes, so would you want to share your story?
Anyway, English is not our mother language. So, and then we also not use English in the college. I just only using English in the formal situational, like in a meeting or email. Now to talking with all of you in English also requiring a very big brief for me. Yeah, I'm agree with Sully.
Yep,
Okay.
I think that's a very good point from Nuge. I think I always find myself in a situation where people who speaks English as a second language fear to make mistakes in delivering their English. And I always think that it's not very important when you are in that situation, whatever skills, a level of English you have, at least you have the bravery to deliver the ideas. I think that is a very important step to improve yourself more, because when you are not challenging yourself to challenge your English language skills, then you won't be able to learn what mistakes you make, and therefore you leave no room for development in yourself. And I think that was what I've been struggling in my first years of elementary school when I just moved to Australia, and I did not have the any knowledge in English language at all, and I didn't speak English language until the later year. I learned little by little from the friends around me who supported me very much and are friends with me until now. And I think it's also important to you know, surround yourself with people who motivates you to be brave and to start trying the things that you might not, you know, have the 100% capability.
Thank you, Nadia, and everyone for sharing your experiences. In the chat box, we have more sharings about how they do something new that they have never experienced. And yet, I think that is the exact picture of what bravery is. So by bravery, let's get the most of our life by always seizing the moment. A quote by Nadia. Okay, so let's move on to the next point, and which is the last point of today. Life is an open door. This sounds repetitive. We've been talking about this from the beginning, but what is actually this? So Nadia, can you talk about this one?
Yep. So life is full of opportunities, and I think it depends on ourselves of how we obtain those opportunities. And I think the 4 points that we mentioned earlier is the points that eventually makes up to this last point. And I think I can share a little story about how this experience applies. So I always challenge myself to things that I don't know in order to, you know, to improve myself. That's a position. That's a point that I was always put as in my mind so that I can develop myself more. And like for instance, when I had the opportunity to be a delegation in the UNFCCC Cancun, Mexico in 2010, that was one of the experiences that eventually that actually happens because of the bravery, curiosity, and education that I tried to apply in my previous life. So that point where I joined that conference was when I was studying in the Netherlands in 2010, and there was an opportunity to come to the Switzerland. I was invited by my father, who at that time attended a UN conference, which actually I wasn't really invited formally, but he asked me to join whether or not he would like me to attend that meeting, so that just for myself to know more about what's happening in the government. And even though I have the lack of knowledge or education about the things that we're discussing about, I challenge myself to, you know, to want to know more, to be in that forum where professionals are. And I was only 22 at that time, and I didn't know much about what's happening. But then when you open yourself to that opportunity, like for instance, what I did at that time, I spoke to one of the delegations. She was a woman delegation from Indonesia. She was a professional staff ministry of environment, and I was talking to her about gender equality and capacity building education for youth. And at that time, she offered me to attend a conference to be a youth delegation. And one of the qualifications was I had to make a curriculum vitae and a resume about myself for you know, one day. And at that time I wasn't equipped with any you know, technical tools, because I was not thinking of that situation, or I was not thinking of that opportunity. But I just took that opportunity and made that CV right away and application. And suddenly that opportunity came to me when a week later an email came to me and said that I had to fly to Mexico a week later. And at that time I did not have a visa, a Mexican visa, and the journey required me to have a Mexican visa, which I could not obtain for, you know, one day, because you have to register and it takes a lot of moments to get the administration done. But when in the middle of the way, I tried to search for other opportunities, other probabilities, and found out that it was possible for me to go because I had obtained a US visa from the conference I I attended earlier, because again, because of that opportunity I took before a year ago, when there was an opportunity for me to join a conference as a delegation for Model United Nation. If some of you are familiar with, it's a simulation of the UN conferences. Usually students apply so that they can challenge or they can practice their negotiation and diplomacy skills. And that visa I took a year ago, actually helped me to gain that opportunity. So it's always an open door for you for every opportunity, because it's a series of events, that it actually helps you to open another door, and in the future maybe open another door. And it's like for me, it's like a portfolio. As much as when you have a lot of experience and information obtained, it helps you to build your portfolio and present yourself to other people better. And that was a very life-changing, and it's a very interesting experience for me during my younger years, that helped me to to get where I am today.
Thank you, Nadia. That was really inspiring. When I heard your stories, I thought, wow, Mexican visa in just one day, that's impossible for everybody. But yeah, that USA visa was surprising to have. Okay, so what do we learn from this? What do we learn from Nadia's story? Well, I think this quote, the next key message, deliver the message of the story perfectly. One door leads to another. We can never know which door is it, but yes, it will open somehow. So in life, please try to open as many doors as you can, because you never know what will be the next one waiting for you. So I would love to have more discussion with everyone in this Zoom, but unfortunately we don't have enough time. So let me thank Nadia and everybody for joining today. We've gone through a lot of points. Let's take a look. Does anybody remember what was the first point that we went? You type in chat. Yes, education. Yes, education. So what does it take to get to education? The second point. Empathy. Yes, education brings empathy. And what do we need to have that? The third point. What's the third point? Was actually curiosity. Thank you, Nugi, for the correct answer. It's okay, Vaneng, for not having it correctly. But bravery is actually the fourth point, and the last point, as we just mentioned, is life is an open door. And I just want to leave another message for everybody, that even though we have all these points, do not forget that you just work on your own pace. You are pressured by the media, by Facebook, by socials, every day about how people are achieving a lot of things, but it's okay. Just be curious by your own pace, learn what you can, and life will open some doors for you. Don't worry. And I would like to thank everybody again, and Nadia, for joining today. That was really educational for all of us. That was very inspiring and motivating. So may I invite another person from TCB, another member of TCB, to finish the talk show today. William.
Everyone, Dot, do you mind doing the slides for me?
Yes.
Hey everyone, my name's Will. I'm another member of TCB. Quick thank you to all of you who attended today. Hope you got lots of great insights. And of course, big thanks again to Nadia. We can't thank her enough. So do you want to do this bit first, Dot, or?
Yes. Yeah. Just go with it.
Okay. So some of you who are familiar with TCB might know, if you've been following our Facebook, we're launching something exciting. Who wants to improve their English? Anyone? Yeah, I know everyone, or all second language English speakers probably think their English isn't good enough. And what we're doing at TCB is we are launching a service that essentially teaches not just English, but also communication skills and, with big relevance for today, global citizenship skills, which is obviously the primary topic of today's masterclass. Dot, do you mind going to the next slide? So what is our thing about? Well, there's a few things that we use to describe what we're doing. One is that we're opening international doors. And how do we do that? Well, as I said, we're not just teaching English, but we're teaching skills such as intercultural awareness, soft skills, of course, on top of the things that Nadia has been talking about today, and other sort of job, professional, career skills, academic writing, communication in the workplace, all in the medium of the English language. And we like to say about ourselves that we teach English beyond the classroom. So you might think back to yourself sitting in primary school or something, falling asleep, trying to learn all the different conjugations or whatever, or the grammar. That's not what we're about. Yes, we do teach. We also teach technical skills like vocabulary, grammar, those sorts of things. But there will be a focus on the practical side and the real world usage side of things. And lastly, all our teachers are native English speakers, including myself, and we've all, the current teaching team, we've all grown up in Australia for either all or the vast majority of our lives. So you know that you will be in safe hands learning native standard English. And yeah, if you are interested in this, we are doing a free lesson for anyone who's interested. Simply sign up at the link on the screen. Hopefully you can see it. I'll type it in the chat as well. Yeah, Matt just did it for me. Thanks, Matt. So if you go to that link and follow the prompts, we will receive that and we'll keep in touch with you to organize a free lesson. And we'd be really excited to see you there. If anyone has any questions at all, please reach out to, you can ask in the chat now, or if you have questions later, just head to our Facebook page, which is just Tasty Culture Bites, and we answer all the questions.
Okay.
So,
Thank you,
here are
Will.
the links.
Yes.
Thanks, Dart. Here are the links. So the left is the Facebook, and the right is our Instagram.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Will,
Very
for
interesting.
introducing the
Hi, everyone.
education opportunities. So
Hello.
yeah, so if you like this session and you want to get in touch with Nadia as well, you can find her here. And you're interested in TCB, we're here. Okay. So
Hi, everyone.
you can grab the QR code here.
Hi, everyone. It's Gary speaking. Can you guys hear me?
Oh yes.
Yes.
Gary.
Hi. Still in the car. About the free link, if you go back to that screen, that free class is open for anyone. So if you have any friends or family that you know might enjoy our TCB education classes in English, in communication and global citizenship, you can feel free to share that link to them as well. It's not exclusive to you guys, although this workshop was, and thank you again to Nadia for presenting it with us and sharing with us your amazing experiences.
I'm honored to be invited in this session, and I think I aspire to have more people to open up about English competency in every parts of the skills. I think the most important thing in practicing the 5 points that I mentioned earlier is communication, and it's in the global setting. English is a very important tool to position ourselves to have those points being practiced. And I think TCB has an amazing opportunity for the people here, and also anyone who are eager to learn more about English. I think this is very very useful programs that TCB is introducing.
Thank you, Nadia and Gary and Will, for introducing the learning opportunities. So if anybody want to get in touch with us and Nadia, please follow the links and QR codes. So I think we can call it an end here. So Nadia, would you want to leave a last message of today to our audiences?
Yeah, sure. Every one of us here would eventually be, leaders, would eventually work as anything you aspire to be in the future. And I think soft skills helps you get there. And the most important thing to have is these 5 points to be practiced in our daily life, so that you can achieve anything that you want to. And please be in mind that every certain people, everyone here has their own aspiration, their own objectives, their own goals, and it's important for you to determine it yourself. And it comes back to you again on how you want to achieve these goals. And you always question yourself on how you can develop yourself, so that it helps you to be better for yourself and not for others. And I think that helps you to be a better person and a better global citizen in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Nadia.
Yeah.
That was inspiring. So yes, I think we can call it an end here for our talk show today. Thank you everybody for joining. So yes, be brave. If you need any help, just ask us. Be curious, okay? I hope everybody here have a great Sunday night. Please be healthy and stay safe during this pandemic. Thank you all for coming today.
You want to take a picture first?
Oh, sure. Okay. Wait, so can everybody put on your camera? If you're not comfortable, that's fine as well. But yeah, I want to take a memorable picture of today as well. Everybody's ready? Clara, Audrey, Ivy, Wendy, and Maria. If you could turn on your camera, that Kiki as well. And Gary, if you're still there.
I am, but it's nighttime here in Sydney. You guys won't be able to see me. I'm still in the car.
Okay. Okay, sure.
Fine. Thank you guys for attending today's session, and I hope that TCB flourishes to be able to deliver a very useful information and also useful knowledge for other people around the world.
Okay, so we're about to take the picture. So just wait a moment. I'm going to turn on the camera. Okay, I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, and everybody smile, okay? Everybody say TCB, all right? 1, 2, 3, TCB.
TCB.
Okay, I took 10 pictures, I think. So yeah, thank you everybody. Have a great Sunday night. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Be safe, stay healthy. Goodbye.
Thank you, Kiki, for attending. Thank you, Anissa.
Thank you, Barato and Zafra. Okay, yeah. Okay, thanks, Nadia. So I will end it here, and I will set maybe another chat with you to
Okay.
close the talk show. Okay.
Thank you very much.
It was my pleasure.
Bye-bye. Have a great Sunday.
Okay, I'll end it here. Goodbye, everyone.